Hi, this is Rachel back again after what turned out to be a super long hiatus. This is Yarn Equals Joy. This is episode 32 and it is March 26th, and you can find me as Rachely Book Girl on Instagram and Rachely on Ravelry, although I'm horrible at Ravelry, and I will show you today a system that I prefer because I'm more a paper person than a computer person. So I will show you the new system I started and have really enjoyed for organizing my knitting. So let's start there. I hope you have all had a good start to the year. It feels like things have gone really quickly. I know school has been super busy. Lots has been going on here. And it's just good to be back to catch up. If you have never been here before, thanks for just popping in. And if you have come back, wow, thanks for coming back. Okay, so as promised, I'm gonna show you this journal that I started for 2022. It's just a little notebook I got, and I, of course, decorated it with stickers. So it says Knits 2022 in my initials. The coolest thing, I think, is that I found these giant calendar stickers. And what that has allowed me to do is to section off each month and then to sort of write in the details of when I started or when I completed something. I seem to be having a much easier time documenting start dates than finish dates. For some reason, when I finish, I just feel like I'm done and I don't want to necessarily take time to write it down. So when I go to write it down, I realize I don't have an exact date. But for example, these are the Point Edwards mitts. I just used some washi tape and not the neatest handwriting, but it tells me all the stuff you would find on Ravelry if I was good at keeping Ravelry notes. So the pattern, who it's by, the yarn I used, the needle size, when I cast on, when I completed it, and then any notes. So I made a lot of changes to that one, and those notes are in here, and then there's places for a photo, but I haven't done that yet. In the next little one, and this is an FO you're gonna see today, I have gone ahead, and this is the World's Simplest Mittens by Tin Can Knits. I've gone ahead and put that in. So it's just been a really nice way to just sort of acknowledge that I'm starting something new, that I want to keep track of sort of what I'm doing, even though I already do have a notebook for the podcast. Hold on. Whoops, sorry. So I have a separate notebook for the podcast where I write down sort of what I've talked about, and I do, put pictures of the finished objects in there as well. Okay, so today I have an FO that I can only show you a picture of, unfortunately. It is the first Musselburgh hat that I finished. I have since started 2 others and completed the third. The second is kind of still on my needles. So this is a picture of, whoa, that didn't work. That was the wrong picture. Let's try this one more time. Maybe this isn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be. Okay. So so that is my son in the hat, and that's probably not there. There you can kind of see. So I gave him the one that I did with the Felici that had all the cool stripes. I figured he would like the blues with the pop of orange, and he did. I made, I think, the medium, and I would not have made that if I felt like I was making it for him. I just was experimenting. I'd never made a Musselburgh before. That was my first. And yeah, they're very stretchy, and he liked the tighter fit. I think I would make a larger size for him for future Musselburghs, but there were no complaints. He really did enjoy it. So I guess I'll talk about Musselburghs because I have not really been a big sock person, but as you probably know if you've ever been here before, I am someone who loves simple knitting, relaxing knitting, repetitive, mindless knitting, potato chippy knitting, whatever you like to call it. And my work is, you know, like many of us, is intense, and I really like to be able to relax and because socks are not something I've found fills that niche for me, at least at the moment. This really does. So this is Musselburgh number 2. This is one of the Felix stripes, and actually if you've never tried Felix and you want to, they are on sale right now, I think, in Knit Picks. And all the Felix, usually what happens is they, I guess they put them on sale and then they change the colors or whatever. So if you are interested in any of the colors that are there now, I'm trying to find here. So this is just the plain gray stroll fingering, which is comparable to the Felix in weight, and I'm gonna do that for the sort of the second half. I'm almost done. I just have this little bit left. And then I will start with the plain gray. And the reason one of the many, many reasons this pattern by Isolde Teague, if I did not say that, is so brilliant is that it really is reversible. And if you're someone like me who likes repetitive knitting but doesn't like to be completely bored and loves playing with color, this is the perfect canvas. So I'm really excited about Musselburgh hat number 3, which I have already finished and blocked. I used the Advent calendar from Sweet Sparrow Yarns. I think I may have talked about it. I had an Advent that was 20 grams each, and then this Advent was 10 grams each, and I was a little shocked and thought, ugh, what am I gonna do with those? And then I thought, well, they would make the perfect Musselburgh. So I used 10 of these. So the stripes go all the way from like the sort of tawny browny pinks to the goldy yellows to the green and blues. And depending on how you flip it, either of those will be prominent and the other will be inside. And then you can still, depending on how slouchy or fitted you want it, I don't know if this is gonna, let's see, why is this not going in there? So depending on how slouchy or fitted you want it, you can, so there's the other side, you can sort of fold it up. So I think this is, I already know who this is going to be for the holidays next year. And I think that they are probably gonna want it on this side if I could guess, but I don't know for sure. But also it won't matter one bit if they wanna do the other side or if they wanna flip it up and include a little bit of the greens with all the pinks and everything. So I love that. I think it's a great, great pattern. I was terrified at first of the start because I thought, how could I do this pinhole cast on thing? But they give you the option to do Emily Oker's cast on, I think it's called, and there was a really clear video on YouTube that I followed, and really it was like the simplest thing. So highly recommend that, as are the Super Tin Can Knits. World's Simplest Mitts by Tin Can Knits, I guess that's what they're called. These are done in a gorgeous spun right round squish DK called Coral Pop with Farmer's Daughter Fibers Mighty Mo in Lulu. And it is the most perfect pairing of two yarns. I think I can show you I think I can show you both of them. So the Coral Pop is this. The Coral Pop is this from Spun Right Round, and then this is Lulu. And together, they were absolutely stunning. Now, when I finished these, I thought, gosh, they look ridiculously long. But then I tried them on, and they really perfectly fit. These are not for me, and my sister's hands I think are the same size, but we will see. So those are also a holiday gift or a birthday gift. She has a December birthday. And I think that's gonna be really cool. And because I have so much lead time, that's the fun thing about thinking about the holidays in the, 6, 7, 8 months before, is you have time to sort of plan this stuff out. So I decided I was going to make a hat to go with it. And this is a very similar color it's actually Miss Bab's Yowza DK in the color pink grapefruit. But you can see they just look really beautiful together. So this is the pattern by Jody Brown called the Wavy Legs Hat, and it is so much fun. I've made it at least once, maybe twice before. It's super simple to follow. This color is really, really fun, and I think will be, a perfect match for the mitts. So I'm super excited about getting that finished. So some of you may have, many of you, I suppose, all of you maybe, have watched the Caddy Jacks podcast when Lily was talking with Sally about her updated projects. And she had been making these gorgeous cowls for one of Jackie's sons. And she really got into a role with them, and it was just stunning. It was like a turtleneck cowl. And I think she used Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and that's what I have used. It's called, let me see what it's called. It is called, no, that's the Musselburgh. Let's see if I can, well, it's called the Valinar Cowl, V-A-L-A-N-A-R by Elena Nodel, N-O-D-E-L. I don't know where is this the pattern? Yeah, this is the pattern, sorry. So it has this really sort of intense cable-looking structure, but when you fold it down, you can see he has the turtleneck folded down. It almost looks like an old-fashioned, what we used to call a dickie. And you can imagine that well, you don't have to imagine, he's wearing it under a jacket, and you can see how beautifully it sits. And so I'm doing it in Brooklyn Tweed Button Jar, which is this green that has flecks of blue and yellow and all sorts of things. And I've just barely started. I, of course, went down the rabbit hole and got, interested in doing other things, but this will also be for one of my sons and a holiday present or a birthday present. He also has a December birthday, so I will work on that, but I think that's gonna be really, really cool. If you look at the pattern, it just seems to have a really interesting structure, and the cables, are supposedly not too terribly challenging, so we'll see. Well, wish me luck. I'm gonna try to do that. And then I have 2 more cast-ons, and then I have a couple other kinds of joy to talk about, and then I have one purchase that I'm gonna talk about too. So I am part of a knit group. If any of the members of our knit group are watching, thank you for watching, hello. And we decided we were all gonna work on a cardigan, and I have had the hardest time sort of getting mine started. Part of the problem is because I am so addicted to knits that are more mindless, I get a little nervous about a big project that has shaping, like a sweater. And I knew that I wanted a cardigan. I think for the climate that I'm in Texas, that makes really the most sense because you can take it on and off, and we have really heavy-duty air conditioning at the school I'm at, and so even if it's hot outside, it can be cold inside, but then you wouldn't want to be wearing a sweater when you walked outside, so a cardigan sort of fits the bill. And I've always looked at the Felix and thought they looked really nice. So I had some yarn from Nudidin, which is unspun yarn, like Plutalope and that kind of yarn. And I swatched for the sweater, and I loved the fabric that I got, but the problem was I had to go down a needle size to get a fabric that to me looked decent. I don't like anything that's too loosey-goosey. So then I started worrying about fit. If I wasn't going to be able to follow the pattern exactly and involved all sorts of math, was that going to add another level of frustration? But I decided, you know, I can make this work. I jumped in, I started, and the breakage of that yarn, while I was also worrying about numbers and all sorts of things, was so frustrating for me. It is beautiful yarn. I will hopefully pick it up at another time when I have the patience and headspace for it. But it was very, very frustrating and not a satisfying experience. So I went into my stash, which is vast, and I found a sweater quantity of another yarn, and it's Drops Air in, the Felix cardigan is by Amy Christopher's, Felix, F-E-L-I-X. And Drops Air in Coral Reef, even though it doesn't look at all coral to me. It's really, really a basic kind of pink. And it's one of those blown yarns with the fiber tube and then, you know, yarn blown in. And then I still had a snafu. I went to undo the yarn, you know, it's already wound in a ball, so I went to start knitting with it, and I pulled from the inside, which I'm usually an outside ball puller, but I for some reason pulled from the inside and the whole thing got screwed up. It just became this tangled mess, and I ended up throwing it out because I, again, lost patience, got frustrated, and whatever. So anyway, I have finally, and I also realized that it was going to be too thin. So I found in my stash this absolutely gorgeous Mo Debonair mohair from the Knot House yarns, and it is in their color Shrimp Scampi, and as you can probably see, the lighting is not perfect, but it has like oranges and lighter pinks, and it's really stunning. So I thought that it would pair nicely with the Drops Coral Reef, and it has. So I've just sort of cast on, it's not going to be easy to show because it's a cardigan. You can see where the sort of iconic, you know, raglan increases are on both sides of the shoulder. I have had a pretty easy time with this so far. It is making a fabric that I really like. It is soft, not scratchy. I think it will be, you know, really pretty and fun to wear, but I'm not that far. But I am going to have a meeting with the knit group soon, and I'm so proud that I will not be the only one who has not cast on her sweater. So yay me, we'll see. Hopefully I will get that finished. And then my final FO, not truly my final FO, the final FO that whip, the final whip that I'm going to show you today is a pair of socks, even though I said no socks. And the reason is that over spring break, my son and his new girlfriend came to visit, and there are two things that knitters need to know about this lovely girl. One, she was very into color, and I am very into color, so I knew that I could go grab really bright, pretty colors of skeins of yarn, and she would have fun choosing one. And two, she has the tiniest feet of anyone I've ever seen. We have a large foot family, and she has, I think, a woman's size 6 leaning towards a 5.5. So I thought, I can do socks. Plus, she's very outdoorsy and loves the idea of having woolen socks. So she picked out this absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous skein from Frankie Gray Fibers, which is, this is kind of the Grocery Girls or the Jody Brown podcast, because this is her yarn company with her daughter. And what they've been doing, as other yarn companies, some of them have been on this bandwagon, is to dye DK yarn that has some nylon in it. So you feel really good about using it for socks. The color what is this color called? It had a fun name. Sourpuss. I knew it was a fun name. That's Sourpuss. And I just love the pinks and oranges and purples, the lilacs. I'm really into lilac lately. I have just started this today, so it is super, super little. And I think I am using, but I don't know how much I will stick to it. I'm using Summerly Designs Thicksgiving socks, but I'm not marling. So those patterns are basically DK weight socks, but she's giving you instructions on how to marl 2 fingering weight yarns, and they're beautiful. I think I have, no, I do not have the pattern. I don't know where the pattern went, sorry. But that is going to be, they're, you know, pretty basic. I think the one I'm doing has kind of ribbing all the way down. So we'll see. Hopefully they will fit and she will love them, and that will be my first knitted gift to her, as she is sort of a new addition. Okay, so I think that's all the projects that are completed, and most of the projects that the projects that I chose to show that are whips, even though there are some others. I'm still working on the Caitlin Hunter cowl that has the fish all over it. What is that called? Halibut cowl. I'm still working on the halibut cowl, which is a colorwork cowl with fish that I love. It's just, I haven't picked it up as much because of the color work, and I have to kind of be paying attention. And then I just wanted to talk about one purchase that I bought, and that is, I ordered, and it just came today, so I haven't seen it, this gorgeous Norwegian knitting designs book. And what I think is so amazing about this book is that it includes in the back this pull-out version of the original Norwegian Knitting Designs book. And it has all of these amazing, this facsimile of this gorgeous old book and patterns of socks, and it's just so cool. And that is just sort of in a pocket in the back, so you have that. And then they have sort of made kind of a more, you know, I guess a little bit more sort of updated or modern version of some of the patterns. So you can see some really nice color work, Norwegian color work stars, and there's just some beautiful, this is absolutely gorgeous, this children's sweater, which I would love to do sometime for a grandchild when that time comes, because I think that's just an heirloom quality knit and really stunning. Would like one of those in my size. And they do have obviously patterns in grown-up sizes. That is a full color work cardigan as well. They're just really neat patterns. And let me see. I love this one too. I think both my sons would really like that. So this is the cover, Norwegian Knitting Designs, 90 years later. It's a great, great purchase if you love color work and you are interested in sort of the history of knitting, and to have that in the back is such a cool addition. And I'm really, you know, I think that's really exciting to be able to look at how these designs came out when people were knitting, you know, almost a century ago. So very cool. Okay, so the only thing left is really to talk about other kinds of joy, and I have, as have many people, fallen down the rabbit hole of these kind of true crime documentaries. One of them is called The Tinder Swindler, and lots of people have been talking about that. It is a wild ride into a very crazy con man dating scam that was perpetuated on some really lovely women who then went and got together to sort of try to take him down. Although, unfortunately, I don't think they took him down long enough, because I think he's still out doing what he wants to do. And then the second is called Bad Vegan, and that was also fascinating. That one's about a very, very prestigious vegan restaurant in New York, and the woman who owned it gets involved with a man who, it turns out, is also an incredibly crazy scam artist. And if you do watch that one, I would urge you to watch it all the way through to the end. I think there are 4 episodes, because I felt that the last 4 minutes sort of changed everything for me in terms of what my takeaway belief was about what actually happened. So do that. Those are fun. And please comment below. Please subscribe. I have a teeny tiny podcast, and I guess that is absolutely fine. But it would be kind of fun if more people kind of saw this, and I would love that. So thank you for watching. You're the ones who are here, and it is just a joy for me to knit and a joy for me to share my knitting with you. So thank you. I hope it is a good spring wherever you are. I know that the world is full of sadness and grief at what is going on in the Ukraine. My heart obviously goes out to the people who have lost their homes, and I know that it feels strange in many ways to be focusing on the joy of our hobby when so many people don't even have the necessities of life available to them at this moment. But we carry on, and we pray and hope, and there are fundraisers out there, and I am keeping my eyes open for all of the knitting related, designer related fundraisers, and if you hear of any and you want to add them to the comments below, that would be really great too, so more people could hear about them. Anyway, thank you. Have a great rest of your Saturday, wherever you are, and happy knitting. Bye.